Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Bald Explorer. We've just had one full start, ladies and gentlemen, trying to go live here, where nobody could see us and there were no comments. And it does seem that we're also having difficulty again to do this. And I have absolutely no idea why I cannot get the comments in. I can see that people are sort of arriving, but I can't actually communicate with the audience, which I have absolutely no idea. Now, I have got my phone here, so I can communicate with somebody via the phone. I don't understand why it's doing what it's doing, but this is, I think, the third time this has happened, ladies and gentlemen, on the live show, which is very, very irritating. I don't know if the show is happening to go out live. I'm going to put my phone on. So Kevin Hall has just texted me to say, yes, we are all here. I'm going to make sure that if somebody wants to ring, they can relay the messages to me. We've had to do that before, but I really don't know quite why it's going like this. It's a real pain, I can tell you. If you're watching on YouTube or you're watching the rerun, you're thinking, I don't know what the problem is. We can't communicate anyway because it's a rerun and what have you. But the whole point of live is that I can see the comments, and I don't know why the comments have been switched off. And I'm just going to see if there's no, there's nothing here. I'm just having a quick shufty in the comment section. Is there anything I can do to refresh? If I refresh the page, I wonder if that will reload the current page. There's 30 odd people watching. If I press this reload the page, there's a chance that it will cut it, so I'm not going to do that either. So we'll just press on anyway. We'll press on with the show, whatever happens. It says here, Julia has just texted me to say, hang on a minute, she says, we'll be talking to you throughout the show here if it doesn't work, and if I can see the comments. Well, Julia, you can always ring in and let me know, let me know what's happening. So there we go. Oh, hang on. Now I've had a text. We've had a few texts. Yes, we're all still here. Have you rejoined me? That would be marvellous. Thank you very much. So, it's marvellous that you're there. It does feel very odd. It feels very different now, ladies and gentlemen. It feels very different trying to do the show. I can see the emojis. I can see that there have been 11 comments, and I can't really see who's there. So I can't call out to you or anything like that. But anyway, let's just crack on and see what happens. Fortunately, we've got a very exciting show all lined up for you, which will be great. So I'm just going to go back and get my normal screen here, which is good. So welcome to the Monday, the 14th of May show. I should say that we have got 651 members in the group. We have Julia calling in live. Hello, Julia. Hello? Oh, call ended. What happened there? Okay, so the call ended. So it's all falling apart, ladies and gentlemen. Not to worry. In the meantime, we've got lots of exciting things, and I've got some videos and bits and pieces to show you. And I want to crack on, first of all, because we have one of our star Vobing reporters out and about at the moment. So let's find out where Kevin Hall has been. We're going to be meeting Kevin Hall throughout the show and seeing his exploits as we go. So let's find out from Kevin exactly where he is and what he's up to.
Morning, Richard. Morning, everybody on the Bald Explorer group. This is Kevin at Hardwick Hall in, well, Derbyshire, I suppose. And that up there, shaking away, is Hardwick Hall. We are out in the rain again, but, you know, it's fine. But I'm out here trying to get some more Vobing reporting done before my journey back tomorrow. So I'm just having a quick pan round, and we've got several ponds here, as you can see, which are probably fishing ponds, I'm guessing, but away in the distance is where we're going now. There's a great big lake, so we'll see what we find there. Okay, catch you soon.
So, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about that. I've got the lovely Julia on the phone trying to sort of just relay a few messages. Apparently, Steve Pilfold has said that if you've got the operating system that I'm using here on the screen and turn Facebook off, it should still work. But actually, I know that if I do that, it will fall over because you connect to Facebook through the web page, and unless there's a different way of doing it. Anyway, I don't want the show to be a technical thing and all like, oh, how could, because that should all be ironed out. But I don't understand why we continually have these problems. Are there any other messages, Julia, that I should know about?
The Gremlins out tonight. Nothing else that's screaming out at the moment.
Marvellous. All right then. Well, I'll just crack on. Thank you, Julia.
Okay.
I'll talk to you on. Bye for now. Bye for now. There we go. That was the lovely Julia helping out at the last minute. You see how you just need an army of people, because the technology is obviously a little bit crumbly at times, but not to worry. Anyway, thanks to Kevin. We'll be rejoining Kevin a little bit later on. Now, talking of the lovely Julia, Julia and I have been out and about. We've been shooting videos left, right and centre. There is quite a backlog of videos to get out to you. We're still doing the Glastonbury stuff, and you would have noticed the Glastonbury trip around the Abbey. That's the most recent one. There's part 2 of that tomorrow, where we visit what is still standing and very impressive, I have to say, the Abbey kitchen. So that's going to be interesting. That's part 2 of our Abbey visit in Glastonbury. For the patrons and those people who supported us, there is 2 videos coming for you. I have just not had the time, ladies and gentlemen, to edit them and get them together. So please be patient. I know you put the money in and you will get them. You've had a couple of special podcasts. We got those out as soon as possible. And hopefully you're enjoying the Glastonbury videos. But there are 2 special videos that you alone, the patrons of Vobes, who have supported me all the way through, and those who put money to help with the Glastonbury trip, you will get also another couple of extra videos which will be exclusive to you. However, there is still a backlog of stuff to get out, and I'm just making use of the fact that when the sun is shining, to get out there and film. So the lovely Julia and I went out today, and we're hopefully going out tomorrow because it's another good day. So we just, and it's so much easier, it's so much nicer, and it's much more fun. And I think it works better on the screen than when I'm trying to sort of do a video completely on my own and there's people about and I'm having to sort of restrict what I can do. Anybody who's done any of the Vobing reporting will know how suddenly conspicuous you feel when you are talking into your phone or camera and there's other people looking at you going, oh, what's he on about? He looks a bit like a prune. What's he doing? I know more people now are getting used to people talking to their phones and things and doing presentation pieces because there's more YouTubers out there than ever before, of course. But you still takes quite a bit of guts to go and do it, and I think on the screen it just looks so much better if there's 2 of you, which is why I've tried to get as many people involved in the show as possible. So I want to play in now. We've been to Selborne today, which was interesting. But before I get on to what we've been doing today, we went to Selborne about 3 weeks ago. Now, in Selborne, this beautiful village, it's the home of a character called Gilbert White. Now, I mentioned this in another show, but if you missed that, doesn't matter. He was effectively one of the first ecologists. He was interested in nature and the world around him. He was, I think, working in the 18th century. I've got to remember all the details now because it was some time ago. He was the chap who actually inspired Darwin, and Darwin stood on the shoulders of Gilbert White. Well, he had a lovely house, Gilbert White, in this rural village of Selborne in Hampshire, right in the middle of the countryside, by this wonderful hill, which they call the Hanger, which is an interesting name, and I gather that in Hampshire they use Hanger as the name of various hills, but this one's called the Hanger, so it's a particularly interesting hill. And in the lee of that, he's got these wonderful gardens, and then there's this house. Well, it's now a museum, and you can go around the museum and you can learn about Gilbert White's life and his work, his naturalist work, and all of that. There are other exhibitions in there as well, namely about the Oates family, including Captain Oates, who famously went with Scott of the Antarctic and took that short walk and was a bit of a long time. Never came back, of course. Well, we didn't have time to do any of the Oates stuff, but we were there for Gilbert White. And I wanted to show you a clip from the video that is yet to be edited and yet to come out. But I wanted to show you because what's interesting is it's actually very tricky when you're going around museums to try and coherently tell the same story that you've learned. We actually had this very lovely lady whose name now, Kimberly, I think it was. I can't remember if Julia will remember probably better than I, who gave us the chapter and verse about this character, his life, and she spent an hour telling us the whole story. I mean, and easily could have sat down for another hour or two probably telling us all about his wonderful life, his work as a naturalist, the way he observed the birds and listened to their tune, and all of that. And then we were walking around doing this video because we were invited to do it, you see. That was the whole point. We were invited to make this video. And I felt the pressure that somehow we've got to get all this information over in a 10-minute video. And it's not easy. One of the other problems we had, which we didn't appreciate until we turned up, was in each room they had, I forget what they call it now. It's sort of interaction stuff. It's where... They had speakers, little speakers in the room with pre-recorded dialogue, supposedly from these characters. So there was some dialogue from Gilbert White and one of his members. My phone now is going to be making noises because it's on here. I hope that doesn't mean that we're off. But anyway, and so we'd gone into one particular room and we'd set it off when we first filmed it. And I said, look, let's see if we can do it again and try not to set off, because it was movement sensitive, this little bit of recording, because it was so loud and it would have dominated the recording and we wouldn't be able to do anything. So I'm just going to show you a little snippet, and you'll see how tricky it is when you're out filming in existing situations, an open museum, in an open environment. You're trying to coherently get the thoughts out and you're working against all the things that are against you while you're filming on a gimbal with your GoPro in a sort of live 10-minute type environment. So have a look at this. When we go in here, I should just point out there'll be a speaker that will come on. That we had that, so I'm creeping just tentatively.
Yeah, step over that way, see if we can step over the sensors. Yes.
Oh, I think we've made it. So here we go. We've got a beautiful kitchen. Look at this. It's lovely, ornately laid. Ornately? I don't know. It's how genuine it is, who knows, but it does look very lovely. You've got this big old Inglenook fire, or not quite an Inglenook fire, but a big old kitchen fire where they were cooking various goodies, and 18th century domestic life was here. And curiously, on the side, I'm sure they didn't eat this. This is a tortoise. Now, you've got a tortoise, haven't you?
I do, yes. A different species to this, but yes. Different
species. Now, Gilbert had a tortoise.
He did.
And he did some very strange things with his tortoise, as Kimberly taught us.
Yes.
Yeah. What did he do with his tortoise? Why was he experimenting with his tortoise?
Well, he was experimenting with it to find out about the tortoise, of what it was capable of, what it could do, what it wouldn't do.
Yeah.
Like, for example, putting it on the
ha-ha
to see if it would...
Put it on the edge of the ha-ha to see if it would, just
see if it would walk off or
topple over the side, yeah.
Whether it would know not to.
And
it did know not to.
And it did know not to. And he was curious whether tortoises could swim. So what did he do there?
Barrel or bucket of water, he put the tortoise in, and of course it didn't.
It just sank. Presumably he got it out before it drowned.
I should imagine so.
Yeah, because
considering it outlived him.
I was going to say, it did outlive him, this tortoise. So this Gilbert White had a very curious mind, and he seemed to be interested in different birds and different species of things, and there's a case upstairs which we may or may not see, but he distinguished these tiny little nut warblers or bird
That's right.
warblers, not from what they look like,
But from their voices and their song.
but from their song. And I read that many of the other people who were studying wildlife and stuff were looking at the species once they were dead, but his unique thing was to see them in the wild.
Yeah,
Now, you mentioned another room, didn't you?
I did.
Should we go and see that?
Yes, let's.
Let's. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you can see some of the problems that you have. Although we managed to do the best we can in low light and all of that. But anyway, I'm looking forward to tackling the edit of that video. Shortly, I'm going to show you where things get tricky when you start filming on a high street, just in this very quiet rural place called Selborne. I'm just having to check then that the mic fader is up, that I haven't forgotten the mic fader from last time. I have now managed, ladies and gentlemen, to navigate to my phone onto the live stream, thanks to Steve Pilford for that. Mark Selwood says, I agree, Richard, really difficult to make short. I just had to tighten up the scenes just to shorten to a decent size. Oh, I think he's talking to Richard Suggett there. And now, I'm not used to looking at my phone trying to do these messages, and I don't know how close they are. But whilst that's doing that... Oh, I think I've just navigated away. Hold on a minute. Maggie Watts, apparently, this is quite sad, was bucked off a horse today, suspected of a broken pelvis. I hope you're all right, Maggie. Apparently, the X-ray said that you were okay, but we're thinking of you and we're sending lots of love to you, because it's not nice being bucked off a horse. And actually, talking of horses, the lovely Julia and I, we've yet to arrange this, but Julia loves horses. I've never ridden a horse. I've never sat on a horse. And I said to her, wouldn't it be great to put me outside my comfort zone and put me on a horse? She could show me how it's done, because she loves horses and all of that. And then we could persuade some riding school to let us do a riding lesson, promote the riding school, and if they, I scratch your back, you scratch mine, for the promotion that we would give them, maybe they would let me ride a horse and be filmed. But hopefully, I don't want to be bucked off the horse and end up on the ground. Matthew Holdsworth has been out doing a planning committee. Good for you, sir. I'm sure you're making sure that the houses are all up to building regs and that everything permissible is all possible, which will be good. And Steve Pilfold, as I says, navigate to the live stream, which I have tried to do. And I had a message just now. Hang on, I've got to get back to the messages. I don't know how I do that very rapidly, because it's like when you're under pressure, you're trying to do everything. Kevin Hall has told me that Andy Ash wants to know if I've been on a fishing trawler because of my jumper. You've seen me wear this jumper before. I don't know what you're on about. It's a very nice jumper. No, I haven't, actually. Thank you very much, Andy Ash. That's very kind. Everyone likes your jumper. Well, I've worn it before. It was just a bit nippy in the studio. That's the only reason I put it on. It is an old jumper. Actually, my daughter bought me this. And thank you very much. I'll put in a word for a nice cardie. Yes, if anybody fancies knitting me a nice cardie, that would be very nice. I'm desperately in need of some nice jumpers, actually. So I'm always open to offers, which would be great. I will try and navigate back onto the stream in a moment. Let's catch up and see where Kevin is. What is he up to? Where is he now at Hardwick Hall? Kevin, are you having a good time?
Hello again, Richard. This is Kevin here. We've now found another part of the Hardwick estate. Now, this is Hardwick Park, which is slightly separate from the main halls. But as you can see, there's just lakes and ponds everywhere. And we're not going to go around that one, but what we are going to do is we're going to go... I'm going to spin around, so I think you see these flowers. But what we're going to do, on the other side of this track, there's another pond, and there is a waterfall over there, which is coming down from a huge lake, which we're going to have a walk around in a minute. But the rain is absolutely torrential again, so everything's getting soaked, cameras, phones, everything. But I'll do my best and see what I can come up with, and hopefully it's something that the group can look at and enjoy. I'll catch you later. Bye for now.
Oops, sorry about that. I was just turning the sound down on my phone. I've managed to navigate now, and I noticed that everyone's giving Maggie some love and attention, which is quite right. Sorry about the suspected, but at least it wasn't a broken pelvis. But I hope you're able to walk in a straight line, which is most important. Just looking down here, I want to see the postcard from Claire. Claire, did I say it had arrived? I've got one here from... Oh, here we go. Here it is, Claire. There is the postcard. I've yet to get the cork board. I need to get the cork board. So I had put it here. Is that in shot? I had temporarily put it there, but it's bending over. Hang on a minute. I'll tell you what I'll do. I should do this live. I just need a bit of sticky tape. Hold on. I'll just... grab a bit of tape. Grab a bit of tape off the desk. Oh, blimey, I don't know. If anybody wants to send in a card, then just email me a request, and I will send in my address. Here we go. Can you see that? Marvellous. I do apologise. There was this mad... Because now it's right behind me, isn't it? I need to put it over here, really, don't I? That's the space for putting in the cards. Anyway, thank you, Kevin, for keeping us up. We're going to find out more about what Kevin's up to a little bit later on in the show, which is great. So I hope that's all right. Yeah, Jennifer Stewart is watching. That's good. Hello, everyone, she says. Hello, Jennifer. Lovely to have you on board. Sorry, I'm having to look at my phone. But look, I'm catching myself a few minutes after the event going on. You haven't shown what the card is. Oh, I thought I just did. Hang on. It's of Saltdean. It's a lovely pic. There we go. Look. There we are. I'll hold it up for some length of time. It's a lovely picture of Saltdean on a beautiful sunny day, as you can see. Look at that. There we go. So I do apologise. Slightly distracted by the fact that everything's going haywire. So I'm doing my best to hold it all together. Right, there. I'll stick that up there. Marvellous. Oh, dear. It's a good job I've got a guest in tomorrow, isn't it? When everything will run nice and smoothly. I bloody well hope it does run smoothly, which would be good. Oh, no comments again. Says, yes, I know. I've got the comments coming in on my phone, which is an interesting thing. Butlins Grand Ocean Hotel. I don't know that... Is that on there? Butlin? No. Oh. Maybe there's some caravan parks in there. This is good fun, actually. Oh, I'm glad you're having a laugh. You try and sit here. Well, you probably know what it's like when you're under pressure and things are all going a bit bizarre. So that's all got. Off to London Wednesday morning. Mark Selwood, up to London. You cheeky man, going to the smoke. You better take yourself a nice gas mask and some goggles, because you'll need it when you get up there, choking your way through. Oh, dear. They used to have pea supers up in London. Now they have diesel particulates. So you've been warned. Just be careful. So earlier, ladies and gentlemen, I told you about the trials and tribulations of doing some filming. Let's have a look. We went, the lovely Julia and I went back to Selborne because we wanted to capture the lovely village in the sunshine. The day that we did the first bit of filming that you saw inside, it was a miserable day. We did do some filming, but it wasn't great. And I said to Julia, look, let's go back. And she was very keen. And I'm glad she persuaded me that it was a good idea, which it was a good idea. However, you wouldn't think that filming in a quiet rural village would be difficult. Well, have a look at this. It does seem that we have picked such a busy time. I want to cross the road so we can show you these limes, but I can't do that because of the heavy traffic coming through the village. Yeah, I wonder if this is a bone of contention that they have.
Maybe. Should we tuck right up against this hedge so that these people can get past us as well?
Right, I'm going to dash across the road here, next to the Selborne notices. Here we go. Now you can see these rather... Oh, that's all right. Out of the way. Now...
Is UPS going to come and get in our way now?
I hope not. So here we go. We've got these limes which have been stunted, or
they're pollarded and trained in this way to create a nice barrier, or a nice sound barrier.
I guess not only against the road, but Gilbert White had his own reason, didn't he? We'll have a look at that in a second.
Opposite his house was a butcher's, and he really didn't like just seeing all of the dead meat hanging up there and stuff. So that was why he had, or so, as far as we know, that's why he had the limes put in there and trained that way.
And they are very broad-leafed, aren't they? Look at the size of some of these leaves.
A bit of hand comparison there.
Oh yeah.
That's actually a relatively small one. Another close down pub over there. The Queen's,
Yeah, the Queen's behind us.
Queen's of Selborne.
Seems to have seen better days, unfortunately. Golly, you can't believe the traffic that's coming through. And they look like some sort of army truck.
Oh, look. So here we've got
Hang
the
on a
lines.
minute, I'm filming the other way. Look.
All right. Oh, we've got more military trucks coming through.
There must be some military base. We're near Alton. I wonder if we're near Aldershot.
Maybe.
It's holding up the traffic for sure.
It doesn't help that it is bin day.
No.
So yeah, we've got these.
Hang on, let me turn the camera. Let this lady pass.
So yeah, we've got these.
Hang on. Okay.
So we've got these lovely yews. They've
Yes.
been nicely topiaried,
Topiary, yeah.
Topiaried.
Where they've been shaped.
Yeah.
So anyway, we pressed on. We did do 2 videos today, but it was desperate times with all that traffic, because that is, I can't remember what A road it is, but Selborne is on a well, clearly a very busy road. But when we were there before, it seemed like it was absolutely deserted. But yeah, there was a skip lorry when we arrived, blocking the road, unloading its skip. There was dust carts coming this way and that way, and then as you saw the military coming through, it was like, oh. And I thought to myself, blimey, you know what, Julia, we may have to come back a 3rd time to do this. We did do some filming in the church and round the U, which I mean, I've yet to look at that footage. I think that will be all right, but golly. But there is more to do at Selborne. It's a very interesting village, actually. There is this zigzag path that takes you up onto the hangar, which is interesting. So, and there's lots of other places. And I read a story about how the Selborne, back in 1830, during the Swing riots, how the villagers were so upset with the church because the church took tithes. They would take 10% of people's earnings, particularly the farmers' earnings, so that they could pay for the vicar and the parson and the cleric, the curate, and the rector, or whoever was there. They would take 10% of their earnings, and the villagers got very upset because the farmers were having to pay this tithe. And this was the time of mechanisation was coming in. We had the threshing machines were out there. It was after the Napoleonic Wars, and so a lot of soldiers came back. And because there was so much manpower now, the employment rate went down, and people were very, very poor. And the farmers became poor because they were also paying these high tithes. And after a couple of years of poor harvests, they didn't have any money. So they couldn't pay the labourers. And the labourers realised it wasn't so much the farmers' fault that they couldn't pay, although they tried to get the highest wage they could out of the farmers, but it was because the church was taking a large portion, and the church wouldn't budge. Even though everybody else was poor, the church refused to budge and said, no, we want our 10% of your earnings. And so in the end, the labourers and the villagers, they all got a bit upset, and these swing riots were going all over the country, especially in the southeast. But they had Captain Swing, this sort of character, Captain Swing, saying, you know, if you don't pay us the right money, because people were actually physically starving. And so what happened in Selborne was that for some, and it's a very unusual thing, there's another village nearby called Headley as well, and the villagers in Selborne, they set upon the Reverend, I forget his name, Chobold or someone, the local vicar, and they persuaded him to give them, to cut the tithe and give them their money back, as it were. But they also set upon the workhouse, because there was a particular bloke there they didn't like, and the workhouse was really the poorhouse. And they then went the next day, this was in November 1830, the next day they went to the Headley one, this other village, and they destroyed that. So it was an interesting thing, but that whole story I would love to tell as a just a 30-minute Bald Explorer documentary would be fantastic, and look at the whole area, because there's stories like that. What we did just really didn't do it justice. Walking down the high street with traffic and all of that, I didn't even touch on it. But we did look for the workhouse. We couldn't find it, and then we asked someone, and he told us more or less where it was. So I consider really what we did was a bit of a recce, but I do want to go back, and I want to make more specials, more, nice documentaries. Going to make a nice documentary with the lovely Julia, who is going to present, because I want to get back to doing some proper filming and proper production values, just for a few specials throughout the year. So lots and lots of plans, but there's only one of me, and trying to do all these things, so you'll understand it's a little bit awkward. Thank you very much for all your messages. Boreham is where the army are housed, which is now gone and going, and there's lots at Longmoor. Oh right, thanks Wendy Wakeling for saying that. I guess we thought that there was some base somewhere around there because of all that movement. Anyway, I want to talk to you. What's the time? I want to talk to you before we go. Plenty of time. I want to talk to you about a meeting with one of our lovely, and perhaps one of the most oldest of our viewers, who I met in a pub in Findon at the weekend. It was so nice to see him. But before we get to that, let's find out what Kevin is up to and where he is. How are you doing, Kevin? At old where I've forgotten the name, Hardcastle, whatever it is. Where are you, and how are you doing, Kevin?
Hiya, Richard. Just stopped again near another pond, but there's a thing here called the duck decoy, which I don't know whether you can see it through all the rain and mist. It's an area of netting that runs through the centre of that island, and you've got a beautiful swan there swimming. But as I pan my camera down, you'll be able to see what it means for the duck decoy. I'll try and get the camera over top for a second or two. Hopefully you'll be able to read that. And then, that's something else I can post for you later on. But it's absolutely beautiful. I was hoping the swan was going to put her wings out again, but she had them out just as we were arriving here. So, but I'll catch you later on. Bye for now.
Well, that ended again quicker than I thought. You only have to do having the thank you, Kevin, by the way, thank you very much for that. Having the comments on the look, see, it's live, and it's gone to a black screen now. I hope that you weren't waiting too long. I was fiddling and farting with the live comments. It wasn't at the Black Horse, and it wasn't at the Gun Inn. Thank you, Jane. Talking about when I met up with Downsman Michael. I think it was Sunday. Was it Sunday? I'm forgetting now whether it's Saturday or Sunday. The days are all blurring in. I think it was yesterday. I met up with Downsman Michael. He listens to The Naked Englishman. He's a patron of Vobes. You can become a patron of Vobes. Now's maybe a good time to tell you. You can become a patron of Vobes and support this strange, quirky ship that we have, and help us keeping afloat and what have you, by going to thebaldexplorer.com/support. And there you'll see options to be able to help us with perhaps a little donation, or a regular small amount, perhaps 2 or 3 quid a month, which will just help keep the shows made, put petrol in the car, and help me travel further afield. Anyway, that's for you to decide. It's entirely up to you. There's no forcing of it. But if you do, you get the Naked Englishman podcast. And what is that, I hear you cry? Well, the Naked Englishman podcast is a stripped down, that's why it's called Naked, it's a stripped down version, basically, I suppose, of this show. And because I'm an Englishman, that's what it is. And it's really the story behind the scenes of the Bald Explorer, and the story of my life, what I'm getting up to on a daily basis, which can be perhaps, to some a bit boring. To others, it's like a soap soap opera. You get this stream of consciousness that comes out of my strange mind. And so I could be talking all about anything, well, all sorts of different things. But in the past, what's been catalogued, that's not quite what's been, what is it when you write, you know, you keep a journal and you call it what's been chronicled, there's the word, in the past has been the fact that I lost my eye and how that went through the 3 cornea transplants that I had to have, and the I can't remember how you pronounce it now, sclerosis, the complete nightmare of the problem I had with the white of the eye for 9 weeks, the continual headache, anyway, all of that, and then the removal of my eye, that was all chronicled in The Naked Englishman over the years. Things like when my lovely son Billy, had a brain hemorrhage and just collapsed, and I was there, luckily, otherwise we would have lost him, and took him to hospital, called the ambulance and got him to hospital, and then he had brain surgery and all of that story. Then there's the story of, you know, my father having dementia and having to support him and get all the problems we had with his partner, his live-in partner, who called him a zombie and called him an it, and was very unloving towards him when he had the dementia, and how we had to get solicitors and all, you know. So the Naked Englishman is it's very much a real life journal of events, and it's only exclusive. It is exclusive to the patrons who support this. It's a private feed. It isn't for everybody. It goes out every day. It can be from 10 minutes to 30 minutes. And, you know, it's like switching into the Archers. Some days there's something interesting. Some days it's just fairly mundane. But anyway, if you can't fancy supporting the Bald Explorer so that we can keep the live show going, we can keep going out making the videos and doing extras, and I want to do some more behind the scenes stuff so that the patrons get that, so more content really for those who really do support us. I'm desperate to do more of that, and also help us to go and do the live out and about shows, such as at the Regency Townhouse, which is coming up on the 26th of May, and from Richard Suggett's allotment, from Ed Warren's back garden, and other more salubrious places, then that's where it does. So if you want to become a patron and just support, it doesn't have to be very much, whatever you can, it's baldexplorer.com/support, and you'll see that you can either go to patreon.com and help, or you can help through PayPal. Anyway, that's neither here nor there, but Downs man Michael is one of those, and he listens avidly. And now I tell you, he's in his 80s. He's a very mature chap, but he has got all his faculties. If you're watching, Michael, it's so lovely to have you on board, and it was so lovely to spend some time with you in the pub. And I've forgotten the name of the pub now, because it's the one next to the Gun Inn. I've forgotten the name of the pub. But anyway, lovely man with a great history and fantastic stories and some wonderful ideas as well. You know, he's outlived my father, who sadly died. I think my dad was 84 when he died, because he had dementia and stuff. And you know, and again, because my dad had dementia, he was unable to keep his brain going and have lots of ideas and things. But it was so nice to talk to Michael and see that, you know, you can get old and you can still keep your faculties, and you can still have a good glint in your eye and all of that. So it was so lovely. And one of the things that I want to try and do, where possible, and of course it's not possible as more and more people come on board, is to meet up with the very lovely viewers. And I think that I can't think that there are that many people who run YouTube channels and Facebook channels and groups and all of that, who hold it together and try and get out and meet the people and you know, as much as they can. As you know, I don't think there's many of us that do that. I'm sure there are a few meetups and things, but we try to make this community the best community that we can possibly make it. And you know, it's thanks to people in the admin who do that, and it's also thanks to you guys and the fact that you're prepared, like Kevin, to make these Vobing reporters, like Maggie, like Mark Selwood, like like everybody, to add bits and really make this thing work. So I'm so thrilled, and I'm very proud of the fact that you all support the show and of the contributions that you make. It's a big thing. So anyway, so it was lovely to meet Michael. He's put some ideas into my head, and I should be working on all of those, along with everything else that I'm trying to be working on. So that's great. Oh, now my phone has just said it can't play. I don't know if you can read that. Probably not. It says can't play video. Sorry, but unknown error has occurred. So I'm hoping that we're still live. I'm just going to check. Yes, I can see emojis coming up, but I can't see the comments. But anyway, whoops, I now have lost everything. Oh, no, there it is. So let's find out. Because, and on that note, I should say, of course, the lovely Julia had organised to meet up with the lovely Judith, who is also one of our admin people. The lovely Judith Oakley. We met up on Saturday in Shoreham, and we had a lovely cup of tea. Well, I had a coffee, actually. I had a black Americano. But we had a lovely chat, and it was great, great fun to meet. We met Chris Puller the other day, which also was great fun to meet. So we're just trying to meet over the next, few months or year or however long it takes, as many people as we can on a one-to-one basis and say thank you. We met Kevin Hall not so long ago when we were in Midhurst. It's so nice to put faces to names, and if people have got comments about the show and ideas and things, it's great to do it. So really are trying to sort of reach out as much as we can. No idea what you're saying about that, mind you, but there we are. So let's see where Kevin has got up to now. I hope he's not climbing great heights and getting soaking wet. Kevin, where are you and what are you up to?
Hi Richard, this is Kevin again. I'm inside Hardwick Old Hall at the moment, which is, as you can tell, rather derelict, but it's rather fascinating with all the different rooms. And there's the William Cavendish chamber there, but I'm just going to move round and a little bit round this way, up a couple of steps to another part, which is, as you can see, totally derelict. So I'm going to pan back round. We've just come up out of the park where it was absolutely soaking wet, but I don't know how far I can actually get up these stairs, but I'm climbing and climbing, trying not to trip over anything. But we're going to go out to the main hall, Hardwick Hall, in a little while. As I come round, you can see there's another chambers. But as you can see, above all the, which I was assuming was fireplaces, yeah they were, they've got these rather marvellous, it's almost like sculptures on the walls. But I'm still going up. Don't know how far I can go. We've not seen anybody else yet in here, but I'm sure there will be. I'm close to the top of the steps now, into another room. There's a young lady there, probably taking photographs or something. Sorry to disturb you. And here we are above another part, which is the best bed chambers. So as I'll try and reach round that way. As you can tell, I'm rather near the top now. And it's all rather lovely up here. I'm just about to, as you can tell, looking out across the Hardwick estate towards some of the ponds that I was videoing at a little bit earlier, and there's a lot of rapeseed fields just coming out, which Ed Warren was showed some photographs of earlier. And then as we come back out into the rain, into the Hill Great Chamber. So I'll just quickly pan round here so that when everybody in the group gets to see this, they'll be able to enjoy it, hopefully. Another view from this window. There's quite a few people here today. And then, oh, there's Sue down there. Just taking a photograph of me, videoing her. Okay, Richard, this is Kevin, Phobing reporter for the Phobe group, saying bye for now.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's fantastic. Thank you, Kevin. It does look an amazing place. The sort of place that I would love to go and explore, particularly as you could get so high up and see all those different rooms, which was rather good. My phone is now, I don't know, I just want to fling this thing at the wall. The app is really just struggling. I've just restarted my phone and it's just doing nothing. It's just going round and round in circles. I turned it completely off, restarted it, and I don't know quite why, because I'm very close to where the router is, so it's just sort of sitting there going, oh, I'm not doing anything, I'm not blooming working, you swine thing. So I've given up on that. Life in the fast lane, eh, ladies and gentlemen? Life in the fast lane. Hey ho. Let's go and see what you've been posting in the group. Let's see all the exciting things where you've been going to, and never mind what my phone is doing. So we'll nip into the gallery. And first up, we'll go to a place that I have been. One of the early places that I went to and made a video back in June, I think it was, last year, is at Box Grove Priory. And Kushti Phil has been there. And he's taken this picture and a number of other pictures, which you can find in the group. So do check them out. If you've not gone into the group before, then you should go and join it. We've got, as I say, 651 members. It's a great place where you can post pictures, you can comment, you can have your own opinion, you can do all sorts of things and make suggestions. It's great. Here, Elaine Brazier has been out near Ashley, near Dover, and she's been taking pictures of wild garlic, which I believe you can eat. I have not tried it myself. I don't know if it does the same thing as ordinary garlic, and that's flavour the food, but give it a whirl if you wish. Now, John Railton has been back to Kingley Vale. This is an area that the lovely Julia and I want to go and visit. He's right at the top of the hill. Kevin Hall has been there. Also, and these are these burial mounds. I assume that's where he is. We've got this overview shot, which I think he must have taken with his drone, which looks very interesting. Yeah, Julia and I we've got to set aside some time to do that, which would be lovely. And here the Green Man is peering out from what looks like a hedge. Actually, this is Linda. And the green Linda. Oh, Linda, I didn't take your surname. I don't know. Linda. It begins with a K, and I'm feeling of oh god, Linda. Anyway, you know who you are, Linda. I'm so sorry, Linda. Anyway, you've got a picture of the Green Man peering out there, and it looks like there's a little bit of terracotta pot. I don't know if he's in the middle of the hedge or at the bottom of the hedge, but it certainly looks interesting. Funny enough, I've been reading a book actually by Roger Deacon called Wildwood. It was recommended to me, and I absolutely love it. I absolutely love this book. If ever you get the chance, if you want to read something that's sort of almost poetically written, it's delightful. Not a lot happens. I mean, it's a story of Roger Deacon's journey and association with trees. It's a fascinating book. And it's just the way he describes things. And there was a bit where he's going around, he's in Devon, and he's visiting churches, and he's looking for the Green Man. And he finds the Green Man carved onto the bosses of rafters and on the misericords of pews and things. And he's noting them down, and he's describing them to you, and gives you a bit of the story of the Green Man and what it was for. And of course, this is May, and it's the sort of time of the Green Man. The spirit of rebirth is what the Green Man represents, and so he is about everywhere. And but he's a character that is slightly hidden. He's slightly sort of watching the world. You'll see many of them. It has sort of oak leaves spewing from his mouth. So it's a curious idea or concept. And everybody draws him just subtly differently. There's no sort of fixed version, although they're all on the same sort of theme. Very interesting. Anyway, I love this book. It's one of those books that you savour. You take time to read it. You can't just throw it away and read it, you know, in one hit, because every line has almost sort of special meaning. So it's a terrific book. So I'm savouring that and taking my time. So anyway, thanks, Linda. That's the Green Man. Robert Crosser. Now, Robert Crosser up north. He has this interesting place that he has been. Now, apparently it's private and you can't go into it. And this, I can't remember now. This is the Garden of Comic Speculation. And I can't for the life of me read the name of the place. Hang on, I'm just going to try and get the file open and see if I can find the notes. Hold on, I'll just see if I can get to it. Monday show, come on. Open up. Everything takes much longer. Oh, at Portrack House. I'm not quite sure where that is up north, but I think near Carlisle, if I'm right. But it's got some amazing pictures. They're almost like Dali paintings, but in 3D, in real. And you can go there and you can see the photo that I put up there. I've had to put in a 16:9 ratio, so it doesn't really do it justice, but. Yeah, it's absolutely amazing, and I would love to go up and see that. So thank you, Robert. You can see the rest of the pictures in the group. Check them out. Coming up now, we see St Paul's Cathedral up in London, looking as if in a rural setting, and no doubt that's a London plain, is it? That's all around it, no doubt. This is Sue Blount, who has been up to St Paul's. You're very welcome, of course, to post pictures from London. It looks very lovely. I do like St Paul's. It's one of Christopher Wren's, obviously one of his masterpieces, and it sort of came out of the ashes of the Great Fire of London. Christopher Wren, of course, famously had designed all of London. The concept of London after the Great Fire of London of 1666. He was asked I forget the exact title, like the master architect or the borough, whatever it was, architect of London. Anyway, he drew up all these wonderful plans, and he wanted to see these great big squares with avenues radiating out. Would have been very different from the medieval London that was cheek by jowl, timber framed houses that were sort of right close up to each other and then jutted so that you could almost walk from one house, a bit like in York, if you've ever been to York, where the houses are so close you could just walk from one window across 3 or 4 stories up into somebody else's bedroom as well. I'm sure a lot of that was going on, you know, when the bailiffs were coming round or the rent collectors were coming round, people could sort of nip out. But it all burnt down in London. Not all of it, but a lot of it burnt down. And so it was planned on this beautiful, this grand scale. But they took so long deliberating about what was going on. And the people whose houses had burnt down, the people who had these little plots of land, they were sod waiting for anybody to come and help them. They just started to erect houses again, and so that's why actually London still has quite a bit of the medieval structure, not so much the building materials now, but the higgledy-piggledy way the lanes still go, because Christopher Wren never got the royal assent from Charles II to actually get this stuff done. It all took too long. And many of the churches that unfortunately were rebuilt, that had been burnt down, many of them are attributed to Christopher Wren, but actually Robert Hooke, who's another character, fascinating character, Robert Hooke, who was a polymath, he built many of the churches, but sadly I don't think there's any Hooke churches left. But there are some which are attributed to Christopher Wren, which may be Robert Hooke churches. Anyway, I just thought I'd throw that at you. I read a book about Robert Hooke, a fascinating character he is. Anyway, thanks to that. Here we go on to here's an interesting and very lovely bird. Sarah Poole has been taking pictures. Is that a puffin? I can't remember now. On Orkney. She went and had a trip up to Orkney and had a lovely picture with that. It's 9 o'clock. We've got to go. And finally, one of our newest viewers, newest members of the group, Andrew Graham, has put this wonderful oak tree, which I'm sure is going to come into greenery very soon, at Nunnery Woods in Worcester. I'm going to sneeze. Phew, bless me. Sorry about that. I can have another... Achoo! Oh, golly. A little bit of... I don't really suffer from hay fever, but I've been sneezing a lot today. I'm not quite sure what's going on. But anyway, maybe I'm coming down with a cold. Who knows? Maybe it'll be a summer cold. There you go. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for persevering with what has been a bit of a ramshackle of a show. But I can't go quite yet, because we want to just find out from Kevin if he's got soaking wet and if he's recovered from that wonderful journey that he has been giving us. So let's find out. How are you doing, Kevin?
Hi Richard, this is Kevin, still at Hardwick Hall, but we've just finished our walk round the main hall, the newer hall. So we're just about to pack up now and go to find some lunch. We are absolutely soaked, bit cold as well. But this is Kevin signing off as... I've got my cousin laughing at me. Signing off as a Vobin reporter at Hardwick Hall. Bye for now.
So there I was just going to take a slurp. Thank you, Kevin. I was just going to take a slurp of drink, and it suddenly ends. What the software, I should just point this out. In the radio business, you have software... automated radio software, or words that effect it's called, and it gives you a countdown. So whenever you have music playing and then the DJ comes in, he sees a countdown of how long you've got before you're back live, or before it ends, and that's really, really good. But this software that I'm using, which I'm using because it's free, and it is pretty good, but it doesn't have a countdown, which would be great, because you get distracted. You're doing things, you're preparing stuff for the next thing, or even just going to have it lubricate your throat. And this OBS software, it doesn't have a countdown on the... It would be great on the video that just sort of goes, you've got 1 minute left, or 50 seconds, 49 seconds, and just count all the way down till you get to 3, 2, 1, so that you can be there. It's so frustrating, because sometimes you're trying to remember, how does that video end? Oh yeah, and you can't always judge it, and then suddenly it's gone, and it's like, oh blimey, quick, hurry up. Anyway, it's all good fun, isn't it? It's all good fun. I'm gonna have that slurp. Freezing cold now. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. Tomorrow we've got Dumpman on the show. Tomorrow Dumpman is going to be here. It's going to be fantastic. I hope that we have comments, because it would be lovely to get that. It may be that I'll have to try and get another little laptop or another something in here to be able to get the comments. If I can get a moment, I'll try and work out if there's another way of doing it. On Wednesday, my daughter Georgie will be here on the show to guest with me, which will be fantastic. We'll be talking about what she's getting up to. She is thinking of travelling. She's 25. and she's thinking of going travelling in New Zealand. If you've got any recommendations or you've got any advice, if you've been travelling recently and you've got advice for a young girl, that would be fantastic. You can email me that advice if you want, richard@vobes.com, or if we manage to get the comments, you can, of course, do that. That would be fantastic. Thursday, I'm hoping that the lovely Julia will be here on the show. That will be a hoot, of course. We do have a laugh together. And then Friday, there'll be another solo one with me where I'm, going to try and wing it as per ever. But that's it for today, ladies and gentlemen. So, when you hear this music, it's time for me to go and throw the laptop at the wall and curse rather a lot. But thank you so much for coming along. Thank you for persevering. Thank you for being wonderful people. And where possible, when possible, I will try and meet each and every one of you and shake your hand and say thank you for supporting us. It's absolutely brilliant. Until tomorrow, then, take care one and all. And from me, Richard Vobes, the Bald Explorer, it's been lovely to see you. Take care and goodbye. Goodbye.